They had a chance to get some points. They didn't do it. It also affected, I think, Kenny psychologically, because here he was moving the football. They got the turnover. He threw the interception. I think it affects you. I know it affected me at times, and this play right here affected a lot of people. Number one was Kenny Anderson for throwing a football he shouldn't have thrown. You got Hicks, who's a happy soul right here, making a key play. He's the hero. And Amos Lawrence is over on the bench saying, hey, thank you, Lord, because he was the GOAT at that time.
Terry, you were sitting with me. You had something about the wide receiver on that play.
I saw Curtis, and Curtis held through. He held up when he saw the guy cut in front. He shouldn't have done that. Run right through him. He could either tackle him right there or knock the ball up, prevented the interception. So I think, you know, it's Kenny's fault, but I think Curtis had as much to do with it.
Then the 49ers came up the other way. Now let's take a look. Freddie Solomon moving for Joe Montana here.
Of course, the 49ers did their thing, Brent. They've taken advantage of turnovers all year. Right here, he just breaks to the outside, and Bill Walsh has been able to get people wide open. We've heard it time and time again. And there's who the closest guy to him is, I think, is your wife over there on the sideline, or the referee or somebody, wide open. And, of course, a well-designed play.
Terry, I want to take a look at this next play, Chris Collinsworth. It's kind of a different angle, just to see his possession and if he was indeed in control. We'll try to see if we can see it. He reached back for the ball here on this fumble.
But once again, Anderson's moving the ball club, and they get their first really big pass of the day, and they hit a kind of a deep curl in the zone. Both feet hit the ground, the ref's behind him, and he doesn't really see whether or not he has possession, I don't think. But I call this a fumble, and under the new NFL rules, it is a fumble.
Roger, let me ask you now about the kickoff fumble, because that was another huge turnover in this game. Doesn't this just show how jittery the Bengals are so far?
Well, it is, and that was a critical play. It cost them 3 points, and they seem to be tentative, and Terry and I were talking about it. The 49ers came out looser. They've played looser during the week, and it showed in the first half, and maybe you have to play loose in this game. Who knows? But right here, it was another example of just being tentative, making a mistake, and it cost them 3 points.
Careless mistake.
Terry, quickly before we go back to Pat and John, can the Bengals come back?
They have to. Kenny Anderson has to lead them back. He has to play well. On the other hand, the 49ers cannot afford to get away from what they've done well. Throw the football, continue doing that.
Roger?
It's going to be a tough job. The Bengals have the ingredients to come back, but right now it's been all 49ers.
All right, let's go back now to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
This is the biggest lead that any team has ever had in a Super Bowl. San Francisco leads Cincinnati 20-0. John, I know you weren't ever in this situation because you've always been a winner. What does Forrest Gregg tell his team at this point?
Well, what he has to tell them, Pat, is they can't think in terms of 20 points. They have to go in like it's 0-0 and get that first one and make them work from a 20-7, then a 14 and build on it. Now, I think Bill Walsh will tell his team, look, there's one more half. We can't pull out our tent. We can't stop now. We have to go out and continue to make things happen.
There was one point during the regular season when we were talking with Bill Walsh, and he said when he got in a situation like this, when he got a lead like this, that he would simply just stop throwing and start running the ball and keep an eye on the clock, and it didn't really matter if he made first downs. Of course, he'd like to, but he was trying to use up the clock.
I think he'll do that, but I don't think he'll do it until the fourth quarter or maybe the last 10 minutes in the game. He doesn't want to start that too soon.
There were a lot of key plays, of course, in that first half. I'm sure that Brent and Terry and Roger have discussed some of those. There is one particular one we want you to look at. We think this was one of the key plays. John?
You know, as we'll look at it here on the chalkboard, we'll see Jim LeClaire comes in and he gets a penalty for hitting Dwight Clark late. But watch what happens to him. He'll start in the frame right here. Now watch Randy Cross. We'll just stop it right there. Now here's Jim LeClaire. He's going to get called for a 15-yard penalty. But watch what happens right here by Randy Cross. Randy Cross really clips him into Dwight Clark. See the clip? The head behind knocked him right into it. So that could have been a double penalty.
And that indeed had to be one of the key plays because it did keep a San Francisco drive alive. That and turnovers have really done it. And as we mentioned before, this is the biggest lead a team has ever had at the end of one in a Super Bowl. Your Oakland Raiders were ahead, what, 16-0 at the half?
We were, and we knew that we weren't going to stop then. We had to come back and continue to do it.
But right now, it's San Francisco 20 and Cincinnati nothing with 1 to go.
16 is sponsored by...
The 49ers are back on the field already, but you're looking inside the Cincinnati locker room. No team that was shut out in the first half has come back to win a Super Bowl. Right now it's 20-0 San Francisco.
I'll tell you, Forrest Gregg isn't thinking about statistics right now. I know what he's telling me. He's telling me, look, this is the biggest day in our life. This is a world championship. We lost the first half, but we have to come out of here and win this second half and win it big.
They'll come out firing. Joe Montana, you saw just a minute ago, had a great first half. 12 out of 18, 132 yards, the touchdown pass to Earl Cooper. The score, not trying to make any apologies or anything like that. It is 20-0 for Bill Walsh's San Francisco 49ers. One of the turnovers that San Francisco got was on a fumble by Collinsworth, and the 49ers went 82 yards to score. They had it first and goal after Amos Lawrence of San Francisco fumbled the opening kickoff. Dwight Hicks intercepted a pass. So Cincinnati has been able to move the football.
They have, and it's just been, of course, those turnovers, and it happened the last time they played also. But, you know, one thing about that is the 49ers have caused turnovers all year. I think that's a credit to their defense. They really go out there and they make things happen. They tackle that ball and make it pop out of there.
There comes Forrest Gregg. Looks like he's ready to put on a pair of shoulder pads and get back into this thing. He said, in fact, if he had known that they were going to change the rules for pass protection like they have, he would not have ever retired.
He'd still be playing.
Kenny Anderson's first half, and it's not bad, except for the one interception.
You know, and early in the game, he really did his part. You know, you talked about that Collinsworth. That was a great throw and catch, and had him down there in the 5-yard line.
Montana's first half.
I met Joe Montana's mother last night at a party, and she's quite a lady, but I am sure that she was more nervous about this game than Joe Montana was.
Well, we talked to him earlier in the week. Joe's only 25 years old, keep in mind, and the build-up to this game is, well, if you haven't been through it, it has to be a little bit frightening. But he seemed very calm about everything.
Is he the youngest quarterback that's ever played in a Super Bowl or not? Have you figured that out?
Well, no, I haven't, but somebody has, and to the day, he and Joe Namath tie. That's considering leap years and dates of Super Bowls. They're exactly the same age when they started in the Super Bowl game, and so there's a first place tie between Namath and Montana, both of whom ironically come from the western half of Pennsylvania.
Joe Montana looks more like Barry Manilow, doesn't he, than Joe Namath?
Whatever he looks like, he's a marvelous athlete.
He has another record. He's been on the cover of 3 magazines, 3 national magazines this past week.
I think that must be a Bengal fan.
He didn't make the cover of any magazines. He's trying, though.
He might have difficulty with the back page. Here's Wersching. I never have figured out why he does that.
You know, what they do is they put new footballs in the game. And that football has never been used or kicked before, and they're a little stiff. So what they try and do is push it and loosen it up a little so they get that what do you call it, resiliency?
I guess. Wersching with it down at the 35. He looks up on kickoffs, but not on field goals or extra points. Both kickers, Breach and Wersching, went to the University of California. Not at the same time. Wersching hangs it high and deep, and Verser goes back to the 1. A little wedge in front, but the 49ers tear it apart. Rick Jervis. Let's look at the statistics of the first half.
Of course, again, we've been talking about those turnovers. The one down in the right-hand corner, 3 turnovers for the Bengals, and that's it. But look at the passing. The 49ers have had 132 yards to 73 of the Bengals. Total yards, 208, over twice as many yards on offense as the Bengals.
And 14 more offensive plays. First down, Cincinnati. They got it down by Dwight Hicks. A different offensive formation.
It was. I think there's a flag on that play, Pat. It came out late, right on the sideline. That may be one of those late hits on the sideline.
Base number 22.
It's against Dwight Hicks, a face mask violation. Reminds me that we have not had a chance to identify the officials. We've told you about Pat Haggerty. We'll get to the rest of them in just a minute. As soon as he tells us about that violation.
Number 22, first down.
Here it is.
We'll see it right in. Now, you see him grab the face mask with his left hand there. Now, that's a 5-yard penalty, they say, because he really didn't try and grab it. If it was a flagrant foul, it would be 15 yards.
It's a first down, Cincinnati at the 35. They've been a good come-from-behind team all year long. Pitch back to Johnson. Alexander out in front. And Johnson is bounced out of bounds by Keena Turner. And Willie Harper.
On the stop for 49ers.
You know, it's interesting. The 49ers defensively have been a 3-man line team all year. They're starting this half with a 4-man line with Fred Dean in there.
Second and 7.
We run down the rest of the officials quickly. Pat Haggerty, the referee. Al Conway, the umpire. The head linesman is Jerry Bergman. The line judge, Bob Beeks. Back judge, Bill Swanson. Side judge, Bob Rice. The field judge, Don Hakes. And the alternates, Gene Barth and Grover Clemmer. Second and 7 at the 38. Anderson looks quickly. Throws quickly. Alexander. Pass complete for about 3 yards. Carlton Williamson. Up.
Seems it's always been like this. The last car in the lot has been yours. And now all that hard work and all those long hours have paid off. In recognition, in financial success, and in the way you reward yourself. Isn't it time you owned a Cadillac? After all, who deserves one more than you?
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
Taste the high country.
That's me, Mark, and the guys I work with. It's dangerous work.
Taste the high country.
But we look out for each other.
Taste Coors.
I wouldn't want to work anyplace else.
There's only one high country and only one beer brewed up here, Coors, with pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Fresh taste that satisfies every day.
Yeah, good friends and good beer.
Taste Coors.
The excitement continues on CBS Sports. Next Sunday, great regional action. In March, from the first round to the finals, the NCAA Championship here on CBS Sports. CBS Sports coverage of Super Bowl 16 is sponsored by Northwestern Mutual Life, the quiet company, now offering IRAs.
49ers over Cincinnati.
I want to show you the car that stood toe-to-toe with the imports and outsold every one. Ford Escort. Now Escort comes with Ford Care coverage. Ford Care means for 2 years, virtually all you pay for is gas. Not 1 red cent for scheduled maintenance or repairs. Hey, that's big. Plus, Ford kicks in cash to help with the down payment. Hundreds in cash. Escort. Cash. Coverage that's the closest thing to cost-free driving. That's strong. That's Ford.
How does the quiet company keep doing it? Last year, they provided $3 billion in extra coverage without increasing premiums. Now they're offering 7 new life insurance plans.
Including the most coverage for the lowest premiums in their history.
And what do we have to offer, gentlemen?
Northwestern Mutual Life. Other companies realize we're a tough act to follow.
Well, our calendars are bigger than theirs. Not what you had in mind, huh?
Once again, they were 2 and 14, but at least they could move the football. And then he turned the whole thing around. 6 and 10, and
then he picked up that guy, number 64, Jack Reynolds. He knows how to win and how to play.
Lawrence Tillers was number 65, who just walked. I wonder if he's going to leave the tape on during the
Oh, he could smile. I was just going to say, Jack, it's okay. You're world champion now. You can smile. And he did.
There'll be some change of scenery in there in just a minute when they arrive through the tunnel and off the field as the 49ers, representing the National Football Conference, capture this Super Bowl.
There's
Clark
the
and
Clemson.
Stuckey. Excuse me, John, go ahead.
Excuse me, the Clemson teammates there.
There is O.J. Simpson, who, of course, played with the 49ers when he was half lame, but is a 49er at heart.
And there's Randy Cross, number 51. You know, those offensive linemen, they don't get a lot of credit, but they sure get happy when they win a game.
Eddie DiBartolo, who owns the 49ers, we thought we had a look at him coming into the locker room. Yes, we do.
Now, that's what you call a smile, isn't it? He's waiting. What a day.
Some of the 49er people who perhaps don't get nearly as much credit as they should. Those who clean the shoes and clean the cleats and put out the uniforms and the T-shirts and make sure you got in your locker what you want. Just terrific. Senior producer, Charles Hamilton Milton III, and thank you, Red Eye. Gentleman who perhaps has worked harder than anybody to get this game on, Terry O'Neill. Our director. Excellent is about all you can say, but that's not good enough for Sandy Grossman. Thank you, Joan Vitrano. She's taken a lot of heat from us over the year. Michael Burks and Bob Dunphy, the associate director. The assistants to the producers.
Stanford Stadium, it is filled to capacity.